This is Matthew Cratter from Trader University, and today I want to talk about Bitcoin and MicroStrategy. The ticker is MSTR. This is a tech stock that trades on the NASDAQ. It's a software company. I actually previously profiled this company back in August of 2020. At that point, the stock was $100 or something. I said that the stock could triple in 1 year, and it looks like I was a little too conservative. Actually, it's gone up almost 6 times from where I made that video. So it's had very powerful performance. If you want to be alerted when I come up with a stock like this, or you just want to see trading strategies that I'm using, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button. So I've been getting the question whether MicroStrategy is still a good investment, especially for people who find purchasing Bitcoin itself a little bit difficult. So I'm going to talk about in this video how I think about it, how I think about downside risk, and one way of calculating a rough floor for MicroStrategy, assuming that you're bullish on Bitcoin. If you think Bitcoin's going to zero, you probably don't want to own MicroStrategy simply because they own so many Bitcoin, and they're now at the point where they have such a large Bitcoin position. This will be the main driver of the stock's returns going forward, rather than the performance of their business. Though you never know, the business could increase as well. They could spin off some sort of Bitcoin business in addition, though it doesn't look like they have plans to do it, at least at this point. So one way to think about this stock is I've tried to find the latest tweet where Michael Saylor is talking about how many Bitcoin MicroStrategy currently own about 71,079 Bitcoin that they acquired at approximately $16,000 per Bitcoin. Now, the market cap of MicroStrategy as of the Friday close is roughly $7.72 billion. This is the value of all the shares outstanding times the stock price. It gives you a rough idea of what the equity is worth for the entire company. The entire company being valued almost $8 billion right now. Now, let's say that we take my Bitcoin target for the end of 2021, which is 200,000. This seemed very crazy at the beginning or at the end of 2020, and now that we're at 40,000, this actually is not a very large return for something like Bitcoin. It can easily go up 5x from 40K to 200K. I expect Bitcoin to be trading in the high six figures. Probably the following year, it's eventually going to be worth more than $1 million per Bitcoin. So these are my Bitcoin projections. You can look on my channel if you want to see more in-depth analysis of Bitcoin price targets. But let's just use my year-end target for Bitcoin of $200,000 per Bitcoin. At that point, MicroStrategy will probably own more Bitcoin, but let's just assume that they stay right here at about 71,000 Bitcoin. So 71,079 Bitcoin times $200,000 per Bitcoin would give you a market value for that Bitcoin of approximately $14.22 billion. We can think of this as sort of a floor, assuming that you think Bitcoin can get to $200,000. Obviously, if it's going to $1 million, this floor is going to be much higher. It's going to be 5x. As we said right now, the market cap of MicroStrategy is about $7.7 billion. Now, the current value of all the Bitcoin it's holding we'll use Friday's prices. Bitcoin's right now at 40,000, but we'll use where Bitcoin was when MicroStrategy stock closed on Friday. Bitcoin was approximately 38,000. That gives the value of MicroStrategy's Bitcoin at $2.72 billion. We can see that the stock is trading about $5 billion more than that, which suggests that some of this future appreciation is already being priced into the stock. This is a very large multiple, probably not related to any new businesses that they're planning on spinning out or anything like that. It's possible they get into, people have hypothesized they might get into Bitcoin mining, which I hope they don't. It's not a very good business, as we've talked about in yesterday's video. It's a very low margin business. But either way, the market here is pricing in either the future accumulation of Bitcoin by MicroStrategy, and they certainly will have room to buy more Bitcoin, albeit at higher prices than they've paid before. They do generate free cash flow, at least they have on average, so they can use that free cash flow to purchase more Bitcoin. They could also issue more debt and continue to lever the company up. And so what's really happens here is if there's no premium attached, no future premium attached to Bitcoin's appreciation or to the further accumulation of Bitcoin by MicroStrategy, we can see that we have roughly a return of 100% here, sort of a doubling, roughly a doubling of MicroStrategy in terms of the floor. So if Bitcoin's at 200,000, MicroStrategy should certainly be trading north of 14 billion. So the upside here is roughly a double, a little bit less than a double. And I think this is an inferior return when you compare it to Bitcoin going from 40,000 to 200,000. That's a 5x return instead of a 2x return. Now, a lot of people are worried that Bitcoin has gone up so much. They're worried that they've missed out on the big run up. I think Bitcoin can, as I've said, can easily go up 5x this year. It can easily go up 10x to 100x over the coming years. And certainly if you look at Plan B's work, which I talk about on my channel, we get price targets north of 3 million within I believe by 2028. And so I'd suggest that Bitcoin ownership, we're still really in the early days. We're still in the really early adopter phase. I talked about in another video how I thought that Bitcoin 2021 is really like the internet in 1997. There's been a big run up, but we're just getting started. So I would suggest that if you like Bitcoin, if you believe these things, if you've done your research and watched my other videos about Bitcoin on my channel, that if you want Bitcoin, you should buy Bitcoin. Don't buy MicroStrategy. The upside is not as much. Now, obviously, when Bitcoin gets to 200,000, the market could decide to price in future Bitcoin price increases into MicroStrategy stock, just as right now it's trading at more than double the value of the Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Once we get up here, it could still trade at a higher valuation if the market decides to price in future Bitcoin appreciation or the future accumulation of Bitcoin on MicroStrategy's balance sheet, as we said. But this 14 billion is sort of a way of thinking about the worst case scenario, sort of a floor for the stock. And also a little bit of a ceiling if you want to be very cynical about its price appreciation. That's just a double from here. It probably goes up more than that. That being said, if you want to own Bitcoin, you should own Bitcoin. You shouldn't own the Bitcoin miners or Ethereum or XRP or the latest hot token. This is a mistake that a lot of people have made over the past few years simply because the price tag on Bitcoin is quite high. And people forget or they don't realize that you can buy fractional Bitcoin, what are called Satoshis. There are 100 million Satoshis in each Bitcoin. And eventually, I think we'll reach dollar Satoshi parity or dollar sat parity, which means one Bitcoin would be equal to $100 million. This is obviously takes into account a lot of US dollar depreciation as well. But looked at in these terms, we can see that Satoshis and Bitcoin itself are still very cheap. People have been saying this for the longest time, that Hawaiian or California beach real estate is overpriced, and maybe it is and maybe it's not, but it just keeps going up over time as a scarce asset. And people who are scared off of who sort of got price sticker shock looking at the price of these houses or looking at the price of Bitcoin at 40,000 should really think in terms of these returns. If I'm correct, you'll make 5x on your money buying it here. That's not investment advice, obviously. And so you really shouldn't think about the dollar amount for one Bitcoin. You have to think about the percentage return that seems likely or at least possible in the next 12 to 18 months. And then you can allocate whatever works for you. Again, this is a risky asset. It still could fail. I think that's a less than 1% probability, but you definitely don't want to put your whole net worth into this. But whatever is a reasonable amount of money for you that you're willing to risk, you can invest $10 or $100 or $1,000 or $100,000, whatever fits in with your own plan. Now, another reason people like to buy GBTC, which is the Bitcoin Trust, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, or buy MicroStrategy, is that they can do it in a normal brokerage account. And this is a concern, especially for people who are trying to invest in Bitcoin with their retirement funds. I haven't used Retire with Choice, but this looks very legit to me. And this is a way of holding Bitcoin in your IRA, your traditional IRA or your Roth IRA. And they make it possible also to hold your own keys. So you can use their cold storage custody, or you can use your own, hold your own keys and I think they offer it through a multi-signature solution. So that's one way to do it, where you can actually own Bitcoin in your IRA, without having to buy a Bitcoin substitute like MicroStrategy or GBTC. Another way of doing it, if you want to do it yourself, I'm going to link to this video by Vulcan Trader, how to get Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency into your IRA. And this is a little bit more work, but this is another way of doing it that I believe uses the same company, uses this Kingdom Trust. So check that out. If you have questions about the Bitcoin mining companies, there's a big problem with them, and I talk about that in yesterday's video, which I will link to below. So if you want to buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. There's really no substitute for it. I compared it in yesterday's video to buying Apple in 2010. Apple had run up a bunch in the previous 8 or so years, and yet it was just getting started on its run. And there was no substitute for Apple. Buying BlackBerry or Nokia or some other smartphone company, Samsung, was turned out not to be the best way to play smartphone adoption. And people were turned off by Apple's huge price appreciation before that. But as we've seen, the real price appreciation happened after that. So maybe start thinking in terms of sats rather than in terms of whole Bitcoin if $40,000 Bitcoin scares you away. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.